This reflection is over my second lesson that I videoed, and it will be over the differentiation of instruction. And for this lesson, it was just a short lesson on vocabulary. I was with students who were they're the highest students. One from a different classroom actually comes to join a student from the classroom that I'm student teaching in. And the lesson was the vocabulary was very intense and difficult and challenging. And the differentiation of instruction is based on what each group knows and can do, from a lot lower of a group to a at ready learning level to this high group who can go through words and vocabulary quickly and understand the words and retain the words and be able to find them throughout the reading and be able to tell me how they're used and what they mean. And so that's how the differentiation of instruction works, and that's how it worked that day with vocabulary. There were some groups who were super low. This group, I was able to talk about immunizations, and they were able to connect them to times when they had shots at the doctor's office or polio and hearing about it at the grocery store. I think it was really positive about how I was able to connect those events with the vocabulary words that we were talking about. And that's what I always try to do, but sometimes it has to be broken down a lot further with the lower level, just because they need it to be, brought to their level a lot easier to understand. Whereas the higher group, you can go through the information a lot quicker and also talk to them at a lot higher level of intelligence because they're understanding what you're saying and they're able to retain that information and apply it to their own personal connections and what they're reading throughout the book. So I thought that was very positive. Some challenges that arose would be some students get, in certain groups, get antsy or get unfocused because sometimes material with vocabulary can be too difficult or too easy, so they get unmotivated. But what I did, and this wasn't in the video that I recorded, but I've been having kids get out of their seats before or during when they get antsy, and I have them do 10 jumping jacks. And they think it's this awesome, crazy, get out of my seats and be wild, but it's 10 jumping jacks. They count them out silently in their head and then they sit back down. It's almost like a brain break, but it completely gets them refocused and they think it's fun, and I'm doing it so that I can refocus them and get their brain back on track. But I went to the Keen conference in Topeka last weekend and I listened to a speaker and she talked about engagement, and so I've really tried to bring that back into what I'm doing in the classroom, and I think it's been really beneficial and the kids love it. They think that it's fun and they don't even think that it's not even anything to do with their brain or how they're cooperating or working in the classroom. So that was really neat, and I've been able to do that, and I think that it really has helped students improve and stay focused. So that's something that I've learned and that I've been applying to the classroom, so that's really positive. Another challenge that arose would be just students coming and asking me questions because I'm taking on that role as the teacher in the classroom, and I try and direct them to work independently, and we go through directions before anything begins. But sometimes there's those kids who still have those questions and they're still wanting to come up to the teacher's desk and ask for help. So I try to be patient and I try to be, kind and walk kids through things, but at the same time I want to work with that group who I'm with because it's, those 15 minutes that I have. And so I try my best, but that's something I can definitely work on, to just recognize that those students I'm with are the ones that I have to give my attention to, and those other kids will have that time later when they're with me as well. So I try and do my best and differentiate instruction. And some of those kids, one of them came up to me and asked how to spell mule. It was one of the lower students in the classroom, and after watching myself, I basically gave away how to spell it, but I still walked them through you, oh, and if it's a long U, what comes at the end. So I'm trying to bring that phonemic awareness with the long vowel and the E at the end into also what I'm teaching, even if it's not in the small group I'm working with, so that the kids who I am giving my attention to, they're still receiving that educational benefit. So that was positive. I turned a negative into a positive, I think, so that was also great. Overall, I think that the lesson went well. The students were able to connect experiences with vocabulary, and I think that that's really important. I think that making those connections is going to bring meaning to words and to what they're reading. So I thought that was really great. Overall, I just will continue doing engagement where I can get them active and involved, whether it's through connections, through getting up and doing jumping jacks, just anything to get their brain moving and to get them refocused, I think is really important. And I think that's a great way to handle those situations and regain the focus of the small group. So that's my reflection for the differentiation of instruction.